The Groene Family Massacre in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho shook the community and raised questions about human nature. Joseph Edward Duncan III, the perpetrator, had a troubled past marked by abuse and neglect, including a traumatic event at age 13. His history showed red flags of sociopathy and violence, leading to the heinous crime.
Convicted killer Joseph Duncan will plead guilty tomorrow. In a federal courtroom in Boise, Duncan will admit to kidnapping Dylan and Shasta Groene and murdering Dylan in the Montana wilderness. KXLY4's John Langler is live in the newsroom with a preview of tomorrow's proceeding.
Duncan's isolated behavior and unstable family life contributed to his descent into darkness. Experts analyzed Duncan's psychological profile, comparing him to other notorious criminals to understand patterns of extreme violence. The case prompts reflection on the fine line between troubled individuals and cold-blooded killers, and the importance of understanding psychological, social, and environmental factors to prevent future tragedies. The Groene Family Massacre serves as a reminder of the complexity of human nature and the need to recognize warning signs in others. Understanding Joseph Edward Duncan III's life offers lessons to prevent similar horrors in the future. As dawn broke on that fateful day in May 2005, the serene landscape of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho was shattered by a crime so brutal it would leave an indelible scar on the community. The Groene family, unsuspecting and unprepared, became the targets of a meticulously planned atrocity by Joseph Edward Duncan III. What transpired in the hours that followed was a chilling testament to the depths of human depravity. The day began like any other for the Groene family, unaware of the horror that was about to unfold. As the sun set, Duncan, armed with his sinister intentions, made his way to their home. But what drove him to choose this family? What was it about the Groenes that caught the eye of a killer lurking in the shadows? Duncan's approach was calculated, his actions deliberate. He'd surveilled the family, learning their routines, their vulnerabilities. But how does one cross the line from observer to predator? What switches off in the mind of a person to commit such a heinous act? The details of the crime are harrowing. Duncan, with cold precision, eliminated any obstacle that stood between him and his twisted objective. The way he maneuvered through the house, his interactions with each family member, reflecting a chilling level of detachment and control. But what does this level of planning and execution reveal about his psyche? Is there a method to such madness? The brutality inflicted upon the Groene family was not just physical, it was a deliberate act to instill fear, to assert dominance. Each action Duncan took was a calculated step in his macabre plan. But what can be gleaned from this level of violence? Is there a message in the madness, a sign of a deeper psychological turmoil? The night of the crime, the air in the Groene household was thick with terror. The family, caught in the grip of a nightmare, faced their darkest hour. But what goes through the mind of a victim in such moments? What are the thoughts that flash through one's mind when faced with such imaginable horror? As the night wore on, the Groene home turned into a crime scene of unspeakable tragedy. The aftermath would reveal the extent of Duncan's barbarity. But beyond the physical evidence, what does the nature of this crime tell us about the killer? What insights can be drawn from the way he executed his plan? In the wake of the crime, the community of Coeur d'Alene was left reeling. A sense of disbelief and horror permeated the air. How could such a heinous act occur in their midst? What does this say about the safety and sanctity of our homes and communities? The Groene Family Massacre was not just an act of violence. It was a calculated assault on the innocence and security of a family. As we delve deeper into the events of that night, we are left to ponder, what drives a person to such extremes of violence? And how can we, as a society, protect ourselves from such unthinkable acts? The story of the Groene family is a stark reminder of the evil that lurks in the shadows. It challenges our notions of safety and forces us to confront the reality that such horror can strike anywhere at any time. As we continue to unravel the events of that tragic night, we seek not just to understand the how, but also the why behind such a monstrous act. In the aftermath of the initial onslaught at the Groene family home, the horror was far from over. Joseph Edward Duncan III's plan extended beyond the brutal attack. It involved the abduction of two of the Groene children, Dylan and Shasta, marking a sinister turn in an already nightmarish crime.
I'd like to address my children's abductors or abductor. Please please release my children safely.
The question that arises is, what drives a criminal to not only commit murder, but also kidnap innocent children? The evening's events escalated rapidly, demonstrated Duncan's relentless pursuit of his twisted goals. The abduction itself was a calculated and chilling maneuver. What was going through Duncan's mind as he executed this part of his plan? How did he rationalize the abduction of these children in the context of his horrific actions? The crime scene, now a tableau of terror and loss, revealed the extent of the tragedy. Forensic teams meticulously gathered evidence, each piece a fragment of a larger, darker puzzle. The physical evidence spoke volumes about the nature of the crime, but it was the psychological evidence that painted a fuller picture of the perpetrator's mindset. What can be inferred from the way Duncan executed this part of his crime? What does it reveal about his psychological state? In the days that followed, the search for Dylan and Shasta became a race against time. Law enforcement agencies in the community rallied together in a desperate effort to locate the children. But what was happening to Dylan and Shasta during this time? What horrors were they subjected to at the hands of a man who had already shown such capacity for cruelty? The intensity of the manhunt grew with each passing day. Helicopters, search dogs, and hundreds of volunteers combed the area. Meanwhile, national media coverage brought the tragedy into the homes of millions, turning the Groene family's nightmare into a shared national experience. But how did this widespread attention impact the investigation and Duncan's subsequent actions? Duncan, meanwhile, remained a step ahead, evading capture and continuing his heinous acts. The resilience of Dylan and Shasta during this period was unimaginable, their strength in the face of such adversity a testament to the human spirit. But what does their ordeal tell us about the impact of such trauma on the young and innocent? As the search continued, the community grappled with a mix of fear, anger, and hope. The abduction of Dylan and Shasta added a layer of urgency and despair to an already tragic situation. But amidst this turmoil, what were the glimmers of hope? What were the moments that kept the searchers and the nation believing that Dylan and Shasta could be found alive? The Groene Family Massacre and subsequent abductions were not just a local tragedy, but a national horror. They raised questions about the nature of evil, the resilience of the human spirit, and the capacity for communities to come together in times of crisis. As we delve deeper into this dark chapter, we are left to ponder, how do we make sense of the senseless? How do we find light in such overwhelming darkness? The story of the Groene family is a reminder of the unpredictability of life and the depths to which human nature can sink. As we continue to explore this harrowing tale, remember, understanding the darkest aspects of humanity is key to preventing future tragedies. What lessons can we learn from this part of the Groene family story? The Groene Family Massacre and abduction of Dylan and Shasta Groene led to a complex investigation filled with challenges and unforeseen breakthroughs, showcasing the perseverance of justice and depths of human cruelty. Law enforcement faced difficulties in tracing the perpetrator, adapting strategies to navigate the complexities of the case. A crucial breakthrough eventually emerged, shedding light on the harrowing experiences of the victims.
Death of Dylan.
Count 1. The defendant, Joseph Edward Duncan III.
Dylan and Shasta's survival during captivity highlighted their resilience and inner strength. The trial of Joseph Edward Duncan III garnered national attention, offering insight into the mind of a killer through evidence, testimonies, and Duncan's own admissions. Despite Duncan receiving multiple life sentences, the community grappled with mixed emotions, balancing relief at the verdict with the irreparable loss and trauma endured by the Groene family and community. The aftermath raised questions about rebuilding and healing, emphasizing the need for support and understanding. The Groene Family Massacre serves as a reminder of life's fragility and the importance of community resilience in times of adversity. While justice is crucial, the case also underscores the ongoing journey towards understanding and healing, prompting reflection on how society can better support those affected by such tragedies.
I know it's hard to imagine, but there were thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people worried about you. Mm-hmm. So how are you today, and how are you doing?
I feel like I'm doing pretty good. I think that, I do have, bouts where I go through depression. I have PTSD and bipolar disorder. I have a lot of stuff going on in my life, but emotionally, I'm actually doing pretty good for you know, the things I have been through and where I could be. So,
You've had a lot of healing.
yeah, I have.
The Groene Family Massacre, a tragic event deeply ingrained in the nation's memory, extends beyond the courtroom to the ongoing journey of survivors in the affected community. The aftermath of Joseph Edward Duncan III's actions continues to impact lives and societal consciousness. The focus now lies on the survivors, particularly Shasta Groene, who embodies resilience in the face of unimaginable trauma. Her path to recovery highlights the arduous process of rebuilding after such devastation and emphasizes the crucial role of community support. Duncan's life sentence sparks discussions about the criminal justice system's approach to individuals like him, prompting debates on punishment versus understanding criminal psychology and potential rehabilitation. The case's societal impact is significant, influencing public policy on child safety and criminal monitoring. It serves as a stark reminder of the presence of evil and the necessity for vigilance, while also emphasizing the importance of compassion and support networks. The Groene Family Massacre has altered the sense of safety within Coeur d'Alene and beyond, challenging communities to restore trust and security. It underscores the need for a balanced approach of vigilance and compassion in society, fostering a nurturing yet safe environment. In conclusion, the Groene family story transcends mere loss. It stands as a testament to survival, justice, and societal accountability. It serves as a reminder of these lessons and urges us to strive for a world where such tragedies are met with unwavering resilience and hope.